Most people treat a mood board like it's inspiration. I treat it as a decision, an argument. I'm going to show you the difference and how I create a mood board and why that changes everything downstream from my brand identity process. Hi, I'm Will Paterson. I'm a brand identity designer based in the north of the UK, and I've been designing brands for about 15 years now. Here I'm using an infinite whiteboard. A lot of people use mood boards within Pinterest and other places like that where you can collect images. I like to have free reign on a whiteboard, and there's many of them that you can choose from. I choose Canva because you can create presentations easily inside it. So I'm going to walk you through my process here. This is for a client called Reach Church. This is a church based in Arkansas, and they reached out for us to design their logo particularly. So this is a logo mood board, and you can see there's a lot of things happening within this mood board, lots of different sections going on, and I'm going to walk you through some of this to explain what's going on. A mood board is a dumping ground for a lot of your ideas and thoughts, and I like to use this process of elimination or the process of reduction to reduce down ideas and inspiration and to argue with myself as to whether something works or not. I use these whiteboards because I can collaborate with my team quite easily. I always start with text in a mood board. Writing is such a huge part of logo design and branding, coming up with certain keywords. So for instance here for Reach Church, Zacchaeus and the tree, to reach out and to hear the gospel. Within the Bible, there's a story about Zacchaeus reaching out from a specific tree to hear the gospel. And that's the main part of the naming convention for this church. So you see, I've got an image here that I've added in, and I'm always taking notes. Now from here, I've already had a call with Reach Church, and it was a great one. And we worked out that Reach Church, in comparison to other churches maybe in their area, is more serious and authoritative. So I've got my sort of brief already here, and for those who want to go deeper into the faith and study, we're not afraid to say the truth even when it hurts or offends, which is brilliant. From here I go and create some keywords based off of this, and the reason why I create keywords such as interaction, community, influence, Zacchaeus, tree, pursue, action, and some nouns as well, which is the famous noun method. The reason why I do that is because it gives me things to search for later for the mood board. It gives me meaning through the words. So everything that we create has to be explained in language when it comes to a logo as well. And I've highlighted the best ones here. Now, here's the mood board that we're getting into. This is imagery of other logos that I've seen that we either want to stay away from or that we like the style of. And the whole point of this, and a lot of people get this wrong, I'm not just putting this in here because I think, oh, that looks cool, or because, oh, I really like the way that this logo here works. No, it's not the way that it works. I'm looking for a vibe, and a lot of the times what people do is they look for vibes just within the logo. I'm looking at everything as a whole. It's not one specific design or logo that I've put in. I've even added some typography, some archways here. In adding an archway, it has this really kind of religious sense to it as well, monolithic in a way too. I've got some values and beliefs, and over here on the whiteboard, hence why I love whiteboards, you can add a lot of information into one place. I've added some sort of brand personality with some sliders that we completed in a call, and some brand personality sliders down here. This really helps me refine the idea behind a mood board or behind the brand itself. Now, inspiring work. Let's have it. Now over down here, we've got some typography and some inspiration for that. Now this comes from websites like Pinterest, Cosmos, Dribbble, Behance, and the whole point of this is to find type that I really like. And at the moment, we really like bold type, maybe with a serif in there, not necessarily serif. Things that look a little bit editorial, clean, and we love this black and white. How am I saying all this though? Well, in order for me to add these in, I'm asking myself the question as to the style that I think we should go for, and I try and put that style into words, which is in this case modern heritage. Modern heritage, which I've written over here, it blends the strength of tradition with clarity of contemporary design. It values authentic craftsmanship, timeless materials, and a refined aesthetic. Now, with all of these designs that we have here, that we're not looking at one specific design, and this is where it can get really confusing for new people who are in the design industry, or when I ever see someone moodboarding. They're looking at things in a vacuum. They're looking at certain parts of a design. They might say, oh, I really don't like how condensed this looks. It's too condensed, so we're going to take it away. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for an overall vibe that's coming across. For instance, this R by itself is just a crazy shape. However, when we view this R in light of everything else, it brings across a feeling, a style, a vibe towards it. And that's what we're looking for. And the best way of determining whether it has a style or to determine something that doesn't have a style and should be kicked out is by squinting your eyes, blurring the vision, and something will stand out that doesn't work well. And I don't know if you can do it right now from the screen, but for me, the one down here really doesn't fit. And that's because the colors are all off. There's not really any placement for the type that works. I mean, there's certain parts about it I like, but it doesn't fit with this mood. So we get rid and we say no. Let's move on to textures and styles. This is something that a lot of people forget. When you are moodboarding for a brand, texture is a huge part of that, whether it's going to be clean, whether it's going to have gradients, or whether it's going to have texture. We live in a world where a lot of the brands we see are through a monitor or a screen, so we can get away with a lot of stuff now. It doesn't have to be all on paper or printed. So with this, we've added some textures and styles that we really like for instance, this sort of stippling texture that's going on here, this texture here, I believe this is the Sonnet posters, and some nice dark crisp textures. You're getting a feeling across here with all these textures that are being put in. Now, most importantly, keep this in mind, we're not looking to steal work. We're not looking to go, ooh, I really like that, let's do exactly that. We're getting across a feeling, and then we're translating that feeling into an actual style. So after all of this, I've translated it into modern heritage. We've got the modern side, like contemporary work, blended with the heritage forms. That's what we're looking for. One problem I have as a brand designer is getting all these assets that I want to create, like mock-ups, presentations, sound effects, sometimes stock imagery, typefaces and fonts from different parts of the internet. They come from everywhere. Well, the sponsor of this video, Envato, have fixed this problem. Envato has a full suite of AI tools powered by the best and latest AI models. They even give you unlimited downloads of all the creative assets like fonts, even presentation templates, sound effects, music, stock photography. It's pretty wild. There's actually 27 million different assets, as well as the AI tools they provide. Envato truly has the best value of any other creative asset subscription, all for $16.50 a month on an annual plan. You can get the 27 million assets, all covered with a lifetime commercial license, which is a big one, and has the broadest range of categories of any other creative asset website. So get creating, click the link below to find out more information about Envato. Thanks for sponsoring. This next project, it was done in Figma before I was using Canva, but we were tasked to brand a very old pub, and we were bringing the branding back to the Royal George, and it is now finished. I will put the branding here for you. Or you can check out my website, portfolio, link in the description to check out my portfolio where this final product is there. So first of all, the Royal George, we had a task. We wanted this to be bringing back the old style of the George. There was a story with it. So what we did was create a very simple mood board for this, and you'll see a lot of work has been inputted in here. So it started off with a monogram inspiration. We knew we wanted something that was kind of timeless but looked old in itself. So we loved these flourishes, we loved the type that was going on here. So we added these into the board so that we could use it later on as maybe inspiration or just to get a general feeling across. We had some folklore that we put in here too, the fiddler's green, with a lot of really nice imagery that was popping up like this. This was giving us a style that we were looking for throughout the process, especially this kind of etched styling that we were thinking, especially with certain shapes. So Sam, our illustrator and designer, did a really good job of creating this sort of look here with the fiddler's green. And for me, I was just ideating the Royal George of how it could come across here. You can see the whole process of how I was thumbnailing really roughly these sketches. If I just take you to my website really quick, you can actually see the end result of what we created as well, which was this brand identity of the Royal George here. We even created a whole typeface. Open Magic was a similar one. Now, Open Magic, everyone should know that I worked with them, and what we do is we create a mood board first for ourselves and the designers that are working on it, and then we like to send that across to the client, whether that's us presenting it on a call or just in a PDF. And what we do is we have this template here that we use that we created ourselves with a nice grid system inside Affinity. We love to use Affinity for all of our work, and we're also partnered with them. We really stand for what they believe in. Now, this moodboard template just makes it really easy for us to add in titles, to keep it very generic as well, but make it look nice too. So the OpenMagic moodboard energy, we had this idea, and some of this will be quite blurry because the images are not linked anymore, but we've got this idea of like blurred gradients going around with these textures, and this is the energy that we were feeling. You see this? Quite ethereal, quite abstract in a sense, quite eccentric, and that's what we're trying to get across here. Magic, things that inspire magic. Space, crazy looking scenery, maybe created with AI, I don't know, we found the image somewhere. Playful, finding some playful design that we really like. So bright colors, really strange looking aesthetics here, even some of this chunky type, playing with different typography of how it looks. And what we're doing is we're essentially just bringing this into our template and we ship it out and make sure we get a sign off. We even have like keywords and feelings here too. And what normally happens is we send this out to the client, but before we get here, me and the team are all scrutinizing the work or the inspiration that's in there. Because remember, the moodboard is just one gate. If everyone gets through that gate, it's fine, but it's going to close the gate on certain ideas. We want to be very restrictive in the moodboarding process because we want everything to be consistent throughout. I've got a bunch of other moodboards that I would love to show you, but can't show you yet because we're still working on those brand identities. But hopefully this video has allowed you to see how we create a moodboard, why we create moodboards, and how you can do it differently. It's not just picking inspiration and bringing it in. It's about having a creative reasoning behind each one of them and saying no, reducing them down. You don't need hundreds of images. You need a lot more writing, a lot more annotation as well. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe and share. Thank you so much for watching. Catch you in the next one.